Hey everybody, this is Sean with Tab Performance. Today I'm going to go through the installation process of the Power Commander 5 on an Indian Challenger. If you guys like what you see, as always, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Alright, so the tools you'll need, it's pretty straightforward. You only need a flathead screwdriver and a 5 and 6 millimeter Allen. Alright, first step, we got to take the seat off. To take the seat off, we have to remove our side covers here, both sides. Pop both those out. When you get the side covers off, there's two 6 millimeter Allens holding on the seat. Remove both of those. Alright, once you get the bolts out, all you have to do is push back on the seat. Pops out and lifts right off. Now we'll remove our decorative cover. There's three 5 millimeter Allens. Take all those out. Alright, once you get the cover off, next we'll have to take the bracket off. There's three more 5 millimeter Allens. I like to use an Allen key on these just because these are a little bit harder to get to. Just remove this one here, this one, and then there's one on the bottom there. One thing to note here is if you have the Indian Stage 1 air intake installed on your bike, the process is going to be a little bit different. Instead of the decorative cover, you're going to be taking off the air intake. It's just a couple more bolts, but just get those out and get it to where all that bracketing is gone and you're right where we are now. Last step before we can start installing the Power Commander, we'll have to remove these bolts here on the tank, because what we'll do is we'll route the wiring harness underneath the tank. So all I have to do is take these two out, 6 millimeter, one on this side, one on the left. Now we'll want to lift the tank up a little bit out of the way so you can do a couple different things. Some people like to use a block of wood to lift up the tank, put a block of wood in there. I'll just use some wrapped up towels. Just enough to get it out of the way to where you can route that wiring harness underneath. Alright, a little bit about the Power Commander 5 before I go through the installation process. Unlike the Power Vision, it is not a flash-based system. It doesn't come preloaded with tunes where you can just hook it up to your bike, pick a tune, flash it, and be done with it. It's a piggyback system, so you have to preload a tune on here, and to do that, what you'll do is you go to Dynajet's website, download the Power Commander software. Once you get the software downloaded on your computer, you'll go back to Dynajet's website, pick a tune from their tune library, and then download that into the software. And then what you'll do is you'll upload that tune onto this device. So you want to do that before you start doing this installation process, just to make it easier so you don't have to try and get this near your computer to hook it up to it. So make sure you do that before you do the installation process. If you have any questions about that process, just give us a call. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a couple downloads and then you're on your way. Alright, so the first step of this installation process, I'm going to go ahead and take the supplied Velcro strips that come with the Power Commander. I'm going to take two of them there and put them on the back of the Power Commander. Then I'm going to take the opposite sides of the Velcro strips and stick them on this plastic piece right here. And then the Power Vision will just sit right here, and it's pretty sturdy. That Velcro's pretty strong. Also, you have the seat covering it, and you won't have any clearance issues with the seat if you put it right here. Alright, so just go ahead and start feeding this up your tank. Alright, once you get that routed underneath the tank, next we're just going to go ahead and start plugging in our sensors. It looks a lot harder than it is. There's a lot of wires here, but honestly all you're doing is unplugging the sensors and plugging the ones into the Power Vision. So it's pretty straightforward, but just make sure you watch what you're doing. Alright, we're just going to kind of start at the front here and work our way back. Step number one is unplugging the throttle position sensor. That's this guy right here. When that is unplugged, we're going to take power commander in line, plug it into where that one was just plugged into. Alright, once we get the inline plugged in, we'll go ahead and connect the stock one, power commander. Once we have our throttle position sensor taken care of, next we're going to move to the rear injector. It's just this little harness right here. It's a purple wire and a white and gray wire. It may help to get some like needle nose pliers to get to this. It's kind of hard to squeeze, but all you do is squeeze on both sides of the sensor and it should just pull right out. Alright, once you get that out, next we're going to go ahead and plug in the sensor from the power commander. And this is where you want to be careful because there is a front and rear injector obviously, so you want to make sure that you get the correct one. On the rear one, we got the one with the yellow wire and the red wire. The front one is orange and red, so just be careful. I'm just going to go ahead and plug that back in out of the ones we just unplugged. Next we'll move on to the front, same process as the rear. Just go ahead and unplug that front injector. And again, if you can't get in there with your fingers, it helps to use some needle nose pliers. In this front one, make sure you have the orange and red wire. And then as you're doing this, just try and keep everything straight because you know you don't want to get this thing all knotted up as you're getting things installed. So just power commander plugged into the plugs where it needs to go. Once those are in, we have two more left. We have our crank position sensor and also our ground. You can do a couple different things here with the crank position sensor. You just want to be careful what you do with it and where you route it because it goes around to the front side of the engine, and since this one is liquid cool, there's some fans up there that you want to make sure that you don't get this caught in. Also, you don't want to just have it on a hot running part as well. Another way you can do it is you can route it underneath your throttle body and then down and around on the other side. That's what I'm going to do. It just hides the wire a little bit better. You don't have a wire sticking out right here. So I'm going to route it underneath and then we'll go around to the other side and show you how to install it. Alright, around to the other side, we'll go ahead and pull our plug that plugs into our crank position sensor through to the other side. Next, we'll remove our plastic cover here that covers the fan, and this is where you'll use your screwdriver. There's two pop rivets. Get that pulled out of the way. Here is our crank position sensor. Maybe kind of hard to see, but it's going to be the exact same process. Just going to unplug the sensor, and to unplug that sensor, all you're going to do is reach in there, push down on that little metal bracket, and then pull out, and that'll release it. It's going to be the exact same process to install. Take the power commander, push down, make sure it's locked in place. We're going to do the same thing. The plug that's in there. Now that those are in there, just make sure everything's routed out of the way. No wires are in position where it's going to get caught in this fan right here, or it's wrapped around the motor on a hot part or something like that. Also, that sensor in there is pretty hard to reach, so what I did is I just took some needle nose pliers, held the sensor in position, and then I was able to just kind of reach my right hand in there with the plug, and I was able to get it. Like I said, it is kind of tricky, but just give it time and you'll be able to get it. So now we can go ahead and reinstall our cover here. Alright, last step, all we have to do is install the ground, and we'll do that when we put our bracket back on there. I like to do it on the top one just because it's the closest. Now for the cover. Now we'll get the tank back on. Whatever you use, just pull that out. Stuff on the tank. And here you just want to make sure there's no wires being smashed. Make sure your power commander is all has some free play in it. Finally, we'll put on our seat. It'll hook in the back, that hook, and it'll hook in the front with these two hooks here and inside there. Back first. Just kind of push on both ends. Your holes line up there. Finally, we'll have our side covers. Just pop those back into place. So that is it for the installation process. It's pretty straightforward. Just use this video in conjunction with the instructions that come with the Power Commander. If you have any questions, just give us a call. But that is it. We are ready to ride, so let's go see how she runs.